So your first question is, for 1000 blessings, how many types of Vedic literatures are there? 2, 4, 108, 5. 2? Confirm? Congratulations. Next question. How were Vedic knowledge transmitted? What is speech? Both are same? Oral and speech? Or is it a mistake there? Some typing mistake? How oral and speech differs? So what is your answer? Is it oral or speech? Oral. Correct answer. What about speech? This is also correct. Right? Without speech, there is no oral, right? Okay. And the last question. How many types of speech are there as per Vedas? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. How many times? How many types are there? 4 types. 4 types? What are they? Guessing. Good, good. You will pass into IIT exam. How many types? Okay, so we go with majority, na? 4. Huh? 4 is the correct answer. Okay. So with this, I set my today's topic of discussion. And the discussion is listen to the sound. How do we listen to the sound? Okay. You tell me that if there is a writer, right? A person who writes a book, how many medium he has to convey his meanings? How he can convey his meanings? What are the tools that he has to convey his thoughts? He's writing a book, right? And the book is going to the market and people are going to read. And he is not going to present there to interpret the meaning of the book. Correct? So how many tools he has to speak out what he wants to say? Words, right? Only words. He can play with the words on, right? What else he can do? He can give some headings, subheadings. He can change the font size, correct? He can maybe underline. So these are a few things that he has at his disposal to convey whatever he wants to convey to the people. But if a person is talking, they are having conversation, how many tools they have to convey their meaning? Anyone? Words, right? The words that I'm using. And what else? Expressions. Then what else? Eye contact, body language, voice tone. Kaise hain? How are you? How are you? Makes a difference, right? So voice tone, eye contact, facial expression, how we are standing, distance between person we are talking to, right? If you are close friends, distance between you would be a hand distance, right? 2 feet or 1 feet. But if you don't like that person, right? Hi, yes, yes. I'm fine. We will sit together now. You don't have to go close to him, right? So distance, it matters. Therefore, if a person is having a conversation, how can you read a conversation? Suppose myself and Swam Prakash Prabhuji was talking there, and somebody recorded our conversations. So Swam Prakash Prabhu said this, Prabhuji said this, he said this, he said this, he said this, he said this. And we are talking. Yes, tomorrow. Fine, tomorrow. And day after, no, tomorrow is fine. Now you note this conversation. What do you understand from this? What is tomorrow? What is day after tomorrow? What? Can you make out anything from this? What is tomorrow? What is day after tomorrow? So if it is a conversation, what is skill required? Listening skill is required to understand the conversation. What is Bhagavad Gita? Is Bhagavad Gita a written document? Yes, it is written, but it is a written document of the conversation. So there is a conversation going on between Lord Krishna and Arjuna, and that conversation is recorded. Now, if you are very expert in reading, do you understand the conversation? Will it help? If you're very good in English, if you're very good in Sanskrit, if you're very good in language, can you understand the conversation? To understand the conversation, we require listening skills. And therefore, topic of today's talk is learn to listen Bhagavad Gita. Just a minute, we are trying to go live. Huh? So that this conversation design remains a conversation, right? So basically, when there is a conversation, right, you require a different kind of a skill. That is called listening skill. Why listening is required to understand a conversation? Why can't you read? Yes, Prabhuji? Because there is a background to which, right, people are talking about, right? There are background, there are how he's conveying the meaning, everything you need to understand. If you don't understand that, for example, a person says there was a bomb blast and 5 people killed. Finish. Now you go to person house in whose family some person was killed. Now you talk to him, he will convey the meaning. Correct? Go on. No, Hare Krishna. But now you cannot see, right? Okay. Hare Krishna. I think it will come up. The topic of do I need to unmute? No, no. Okay. So, topic of today's discussion is learn to listen Bhagavad Gita. Correct? So, before we start this topic, so we'll start with 4 labels of speech. You must have heard people saying that whatever has been spoken and all the sounds are there in the universe. Have you heard this? But then scientists they argue. What is the argument? Because speech requires a medium to travel. I'm speaking now, and between me and you, there's a medium called air. And this vibration is getting transmitted there, right? Now, when this sound vibration is coming to you, it is striking your eardrum, right? And then there are fluids are there. So it strikes eardrum, it agitates the fluid inside, and that fluid is connected with the auditory nerves. And that nerves transforms my vibration of these words into electrical signals. And that electrical signals reaches to the brain, and then brain interprets it. Correct? So now you see the word that I just speak or that I spoke, it gets transformed into a different form. It is not in the same manner in which I'm speaking, in the manner in which it is present in this ear. It is not present the same way in a mind. It is transformed into electrical signals. Now, for example, you speak on mobile phones, right? You speak something. For example, now I'm speaking and this is being telecasted through Zoom. So do you think Zoom is working in a similar manner, our brain? It has a different mechanism to work, right? And that, so now because of this internet, this Zoom, this my sound is present here. It is present outside. It is present in USA also. It is present on entire this earth. But the form is different. So what it Veda says that there are different levels of speech in which those sounds are present. And we need a different kind of instrument or a different kind of capability to capture those sounds. So that is a topic we'll discuss. And then we will discuss also what are the basic listening skills. There are advanced level of listening skills, but we will discuss on basic levels. What are the few things that we should keep in mind so that we understand the topic very well when we read Bhagavad Gita. So when we read Bhagavad Gita, we actually listen to Bhagavad Gita. When we are reading Bhagavad Gita, what you need to do? Not read. Listen it. Listen the sounds. Listen to the sound of Lord Krishna. Listen to the sound of Arjuna. And then you will understand. You should feel like they're talking to me, just like I'm talking to you and somebody is listening. You just feel like Lord Krishna and Arjuna, they're having conversation and now you're listening. Now you're into in the conversation. It's not something you are reading after it has been recorded. Good. So the first label is called Vekhari. It is called Vekhari. Vekhari means, so there are different levels of interpretations of this sound. The level of sound, there are different levels of interpretations. I am going to share one or two of them, but don't get restricted to those. And also do not assume that I'm expert in this speech type topic. Actually, we are not expert in any topic, right? We know something and we are just sharing it. So don't restrict yourself to what you hear today. But my idea is just to introduce you to this topic. Some of you may have heard this, and for some, it may be completely a new topic. So my idea is just you take it. Now, there are many opportunities, there are many options for you to learn more about it. So don't restrict to today's talk. Just take a hint and proceed. So Vekhari is that which is produced by my tongue. My vocal glands is produced, and the medium is to convey the air. So Vekhari kind of sound is conveyed through medium of air. And when this medium gets transformed into our mind, it is called as Madhyama. When you get transformed to our mind, it is called as Madhyama. So the medium in which the sound is stored in the mind is not Vekhari. It is not similar to the sound that is being produced here, but it is called Madhyama in Sanskrit. For example, if I say Golgappa, now everyone in mind will have Golgappa shape, right, in your mind. If I say Govardhana, so those who have visited Govardhana, immediately you will recall Govardhana look like this, right? So the sound that you perceive, sometimes we start talking to ourselves. You know, self-talk. In cinemas, you can hear the self-talk, right? In the movies, na? In cinemas, in the serials, you can hear the self-talk. The person is talking to self, but you can hear loud, as if he's talking to you. You can hear him. Yes, I will do this. I will go there. This is good. This is right. So self-talk, that the sound that you hear, the talk that is going in your mind and that you can hear is called Madhyama. And the final level, more subtle, the more finer form of this Madhyama is called Pasyanti. Pasyanti comes from the word Pasyat. Pasyat means to see. So in that level, you can visualize the sound in your mind. So Pasyanti is more finer than the, and it is said that Pasyanti level of the conversation happens through heart. The source of that is our heart. In yoga system, they say Anahata Chakra. Anahata means one which is not a strike. Anahata. Hatha means strike. Anahata Chakra means one that is not a strike. So everything in the universe has a sound. There is sound, right? But this sound is produced when it is a strike. But this Pasyanti sound occurs without striking. It is from the region of our heart, and in yoga system they say it is Anahata Chakra, the region this. And you will see Pasyanti many times in Bhagavad Gita. Now you can understand which language Lord Krishna is talking about. And then the fourth level of sound is called Para. And the Para level of sound is called the flute of Lord Krishna, the sound of God. So the idea here is the person, a person who can connect himself by any means through this Pasyanti Para level of sound, all the information that you're looking for, all the solutions, it may be scientific, social, personal, family related, everything that is there, answer is here. But the form in which it is present is Para or Pasyanti. Just for example, now we have Google and YouTube and ChatGPT, right? You ask me, what is quantum computing? I said, 2 minutes. What is quantum computing? ChatGPT gives an entire answer, and I can read out to you. Similarly, those yogic people, just like our Veda Vyasa and other rishis, they had this capacity to connect with Pasanti level of information, the sound, this cosmic Brahmanda, and they're able to just connect. You ask them a problem, you ask for a solution, yes, you go there, you will get it. Something like this, right? So how they connect? They connect through Pasanti level. All the information that you require is there. And when we say Shruti, when we say Shruti, our rishis and acharyas, they had this capacity to connect this Pasanti level of sound. Lord Krishna's all the activities, all the leelas are going on, and the sound of conversation between Radha and Krishna is para. So if we have the capacity to connect with that level, you will always be able to see Lord Krishna anywhere, everywhere. Just like all the cinemas, Bahubali, everything is rotating here in the space. What I require? Internet connection and YouTube. I can watch movie. We can stop this presentation and Bahubali will start. I just need to connect this. Do you want to connect? So the idea is everything is there. But because with degradation of our understanding, because we forget, because we neglected those signs, today our condition is even our eardrums are not working. And now we come to next level, that is when I say hearing and listening, both are different. In a school, teacher would say, can you hear me? Can you hear me? And the student say, yes, ma'am. Now listen to me. So the difference between hearing and listening. You may hear many sounds, but I don't listen to them. Okay? So in summary, we have this Vekari, Madhyama, Pasanti, and Para. Okay? I will try to finish this within 1 hour, right? I have time till 10:15. No? Okay. So I will go a little fast. Now read this sloka. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Janmadasya yato anvayat itarastha athesu avikya swarata tene brahmaridayadikavaye mohyanti yat suryah tejovari mridam yatha vinimayo yatra tisargo amrisa dhamna swena sada nirasta kuhukam satyam paramadhimahi. Now my focus in this sloka is on the Tene Brahma Hridayadikavaya. So Lord Brahma, he received knowledge from Hridaya. And then we say Shruti. Now you can connect. What was that language? Pasyanti. The language in which Lord Krishna communicated to Lord Brahma was in which speech? Pasyanti. Because the Pasyanti is the region of heart from which this starts. Now in this look you see this song again Bhagavatam. Tasmin swa asrame vyaso badri sandamandite asino api upasprisya prani daddo mana swayam bhakti yoge na manasi samyak pranihite amale apasyata purusam purnam mayam cha tatapasrayam Again, you see, he sat down with a calm mind, and then he apasyat purusam. How did he see? Through prasanti level of communication. So to have this prasanti level of communication, what you require? A calm mind. A mind which is always agitated with the desire of sense gratification, that cannot have access to the prasanti level of communication. And therefore, time and again, every time it is said, control your desires, control your mind, control your senses. Because the senses, like our ears, can have access to Vaikhari and Madhyama level of sound only. You can have self-talk, you can imagine something, you can hear something, but not on prasanti level. And all this spiritual realization happens at the prasanti level of transactions. Okay. Next sloka from Bhagavad Gita. Yada te moha kalilam buddhi vati tarisati tada gantasi nirvedam srotavasya sutasya cha. So now this sloka has a interpretation. We can read in Prabhupada books, but because the context of discussion is this speech and how we perceive, we interpret it this way. Jada te mohakalam buddhi vati tarisati. When you are able to surpass those self-talk and all these things, desires and fulfillment of our sense gratification, everything, at that point, tada gantasi nirvedam srotavasya sutasya cha. You will reach a stage where you can access to the prasanti level of informations. Because srotavasya sutasya cha, what did this signifies? This signifies about those portion of Vedas which talks about fruit activities. You do this, you get this. You don't do this, you get this. Something like this. And if your mind is always attached, I will do this, I will get this. I will do this, I will get this. And then you just roam around with your Vaikari and Madhyama level. You can't have access to the prasanti. Because what's the yada te mohokailam buddhi vati tarisati. Prasanti level of sound, it surpasses the intelligence. It surpasses the mind. For example, if I say you, I just show you this kartal, you can imagine this karta in your head, but then also you can see something which is not present, right? And so all the realization, spiritualization happens at the level of heart. We say, right? I can realize from my heart, and there's sound we need to learn to hear. This one, 15.10. Utkramantam istitam vape Bunjan va gunanvitam vimudhananu pasyanti jnana chakshusa. Again, you see the word pasyanti comes here. This pasyanti means comes from word pasyat. Pasyat means to see. But again, from the viewpoint of this speech, this pasyanti level is very, very subtle language, and it helps you to visualize the things. It helps you to visualize the words. When you are chanting on the level of pasyanti level, when you say Hare Krishna, you see the written words Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, and you can all visualize all the leelas, everything you can visualize at the if you are chanting at the pasyanti level. So Lord said pasyanti jnana chakshusa. So this level surpasses all our intelligence level. And then you say pasyanti jnana chakshusa. Again you see dhyanena atmani pasyanti kechit atmanam atmana anya sankhena yogena karma yogena cha pare. Again you see pasyanti. A devotee is able to talk with Lord Krishna. He is able to see at the level of pasyanti level of communication. Pasyanti also see, he can see the words, he can see all the leelas. Others, kechit atmana anya sankhena yogena. Others can also access by Sankhya Yoga, by analytical study of what is matter, what is non-matter, what is body, what is soul, and others by Karma Yoga. So the idea here is that Lord Krishna is saying that all the processes you can connect, you can understand the bhakti yoga, but the process is that you need to have connect with your objective, Lord Krishna, either karma yoga or sankhya yoga or dhyana. So my focus is on the word pasyanti. Again, Arjuna said, Arjuna vacha isit pragyasya ka bhasa samadhistasya kesava isitadhi kim prabhaseta kim asita brajeta kim. Where is the focus? Kim prabhaseta. What is the language in which he talks? If you see all the different levels of devotees, all the great yogics, all the acharyas, if they want to convey some message, they don't have to say by words, right? You just look at you and you become self-realized person, right? They have the power. When Dhruv Maharaj, he meditated on Lord Vishnu appeared before him, and what he did, he just touched the forehead, and all the conclusions of Vedas were transmitted to him. Done. The USB transfer, right? Just like file transfer, no? So that happens at the level of para and pasyanti. For example, just imagine that I am giving a description of the how Lord looks like today. So I start with his leg. So in the leg, beautiful red color is there, and then we have the tulsi, and then you have ankle belt, then he's wearing a dhoti, then on the waist, then the chest, then on the head, everything. And I write this in a two page. Unless you finish reading the entire 2 page, will not come to know how Lord looks like. So this is the disadvantage of Vekhari or Madhyama. But Pasyanti, if you see how much time it required to understand everything. Very quickly, right? You just see and know, right? You can connect easily. No? So that is the power of Pasyanti. Pasyanti can happen very fast, very quick, large amount of data transferred out of a sudden, right? So in material science also we have different mechanism. If you want to transfer very slowly, bit by bit, that is a different process. If you want to transfer data by gigabyte, the process is different. Same process will not apply. Correct? Similarly, the transmission of knowledge and the realizations, sometimes you must have heard a spiritual master touches the disciple with his leg and he becomes ecstatic, right? All the knowledge, all the transfer, all happens because the transfer happens through pasyanti and para level. Para is the language in which God speaks. So devotees, they are at the level of pasyanti only. And all, because para language is called Tri Gunatmaka. I mean, one who has surpassed all the 3 modes of nature, they can understand or communicate or listen to this para level. Pasyanti level, those who are in the level of Satoguna, they can access. And therefore, time and again, it is said that we need to have conversation. We need to control our senses, control this. We said, why the hell that we control this? When everyone is not controlling, why we are forced to control, right? Because our Vedas, they want to give us something more. And to receive more, they want us to become eligible to accept it, right? If I say, sometimes there is a water scarcity, right? And the government or the municipality, they sends the tankers of water. And they tell you, take as much water you require. And you have only a glass, 200 ml. And you go there and take the water. And other person has a 1000 syntax. And then you complain. Unfair, very unfair. For me, only 200 ml. For him, 1000 liters. Baba, who said to you, go with the glass? Take your syntax. Similarly, a spiritual master or devotees, they're talking. But we don't have the capacity. We don't have this receptacle, right? Our receptors are very small. We receive very small. And the other person, they can receive very big amount. So therefore, we need to make ourselves at that level of reception so that when you read Bhagavad Gita, you understand properly. Okay. Is it too heavy or light? Okay. So I want to finish this so that we can have little bit of question answer and we can wind it up. So usually I run in a 3 hours seminar mode, but I have only here access to 1.5 hours. I'm going very fast, not much explanation. So tips for improving listening skill. So this is the book I have written, and from this book only I'm telling you. Okay. So what are the characteristic of a good listener? It says 90-10 rule. 90-10 rule means we should speak 90% of time. We should listen 90% of time and then talk 10%. If you stop 10% also, then what happens? The person also stop talking to you. So in Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna spoke how many slokas? 84 slokas. And Lord Krishna, what is the percentage? Mathematician? 84 out of 700. How many? How much percentage? Close to 12%. You see, Bhagavad Gita follows exact 90-10 principles of listening skills. Because who is the listener? Arjuna is listener and Lord Krishna is speaker. So therefore, Arjuna is a good example of a good listener. So we need to. So listening does not mean that you are sitting there and your eyes and ears open, you are listening to it. No. It is called passive listening. Something is going, but you can't understand what is going there. We need to become active listening. And in active listening, we need to practice some skills we're going to discuss now. We need to switch on different modes of listening. And that comes by practice. Everyone does not have all the levels of all different kinds of skills of listening, because everyone is unique and the way they process the information is different. And therefore, you need to judge yourself. Where are you now? And then decide which you lack and practice that to overcome and become a perfect listener. And then while you're listening, you must learn to ask probing and open-ended questions. Why probing and open-ended questions? You see, all the Vedas are Shruti. Everywhere you see the conversations, right? It's not a written document, it's a conversation. Someone is asking the question and other person replying the answer. You just, sometimes what happens that many people, I don't say everyone, when they read, they don't read the questions. The questions, what to read? Answer is important, right? So they don't read the questions. Many times people say, why I should read what Arjuna said, Arjuna Vacha? Not in a business. I'm a devotee. I should Bhagwan Vacha. So they don't read Arjuna Vacha. They just listen to Sri Bhagwan Vacha. There are many people that don't read Bhagavad Gita first chapter. Why? They say to just arrangement of right fighting between this. What is the read? There's nothing to learn from me. I will read from chapter 2. Bhagwan Vacha. It starts from there. So don't read chapter 1 also. And then they're reading, right? You see, great. They are reading conversation. And then they say, confused. What is there? I don't understand. Repetition, this, that. So we need to understand how to ask probing and open-ended question. If I say, how are you? What do you say? Fine. Conversation ends there. Is it open-ended or close-ended? How do you feel? Good. How was my lecture? Good. Finish. What is open-ended questions? How do you ask open-ended question? You read our shastras. They've asked open-ended questions, and therefore it elaborates. Arjuna said, what say? Isthit pragyasya ka bhasa samadhisthasya kesava isidhim kim prabhaseta kim asita brajeta kim. This is the open-ended question. Have you ever thought about this? That it is an open-ended question, right? So Arjuna had asked all the open-ended questions. If he just asks, Lord, should I fight or not? He said, fight, finish. No Bhagavad Gita, finish. Right? Lord, I'm confused. So I'm asking, should I fight or not? Lord says, you fight. Bhagavad Gita, one sloka, two sloka, finish. It makes our life easier, right? You become devotee by just reading two slokas. Arjuna said, should I fight? Lord said, fight. So therefore, in our life, should I do activity? Not, you do activity. All the finish. Self-realized souls, right? But because Arjuna asked open-ended questions, Lord had to speak a lot. Ishi to pragya se ka bhasa. How does he speak? How does he speak? This question, to answer this question, it requires explanation, right? Correct. If you ask a question which doesn't require explanation, that is called a closed-ended questions. Are you coming, Prabhu? No. Finish. So therefore, we need to learn how to ask an open-ended question, and that requires a practice. First, you need to know that there are something called open-ended question and then closed-ended questions, and then you need to practice that. Many times people they ask me a question, and we ask closed-ended question, and then we expect that he will talk more, and then we get confused. Doctor says, do you have any doubts? Will I get cured? Yes. Finish. You ask him how the disease occurs, what precaution I should take, should avoid it, how much time it will take. So it requires an explanation, right? And then it will allow the speaker to speak to you. So that is the quality of a good listener. So if you don't, there is a secret. If you don't want to listen to a person, ask him a closed-ended questions. And if you want to listen him more, ask him a open-ended questions. Okay. If you don't want to prolong my talk, you can ask me open-ended questions or closed-ended questions. Closed-ended questions. So I can close very quickly. Okay. So 5 things to focus while listening. So you don't have to make a note. I have taken a printouts of this, not previous one, but this one. I will give the template to you. All these 5 steps, focus are there. So I want to focus on the slides and what I'm talking. No need to write because I have the notes for you. I will give it to you. I've taken a printout template. So there are 5 different kinds of focus points while you're listening to it. One is called big picture. Other is called recall details. Then evaluate content. And then understanding subtle cues and empathize. What is the meaning of big picture? So in all the talks, in all the discussion, you don't require to use all these 5 methods. Depending on how the talk is going on, depending on what is the subject matter of the talk, we need to change your switch on and switch off, different kind of things. So I have just written some very basic things. So big picture means if you want to say, how will it impact my life? How it is going to have impact after 5 years, after 1 year, very long time, how it's going to impact my life? So the answer is the big picture. Say for example, a company says, recently we occur, our profit went down by 90%, and then we have reduced the employment condition by 50%. What is the big picture? Company is bankrupt. Right, finish. So those people who are on the higher platform, right? Those who are on the higher management level, they don't go into much details. Say for example, Janmashtami celebration. Janmashtami celebration discussion is going on. So the big picture is the date, right? If you miss the big picture, if you know all the details, Janmashtami, what other programs are there, Abhishekam is there, this is there, but you forget the date. Finish, right? What kind of listener you are? You forgot the date when the Janmashtami is, right? And for example, if you don't recognize what this festival is about. Is it Narsing Chaturdasi, Janmashtami, Radha Ashtami, Gaur Purnima? What it is they're talking about? The big picture is Janmashtami. So all those people who are on the manager level, who are dealing with many devotees, they are counseling many people, they have to have this focus on big picture. The big picture must be clear. Big picture is what it manifests. The temple that manifested here. All the devotees, they came here, nothing was there. All the barren land, stones, trees, grasses, but there's the big picture. Temple will manifest. So big picture manifest one day. But if you don't have the big picture, there is no university who can teach you how to have big pictures. Is there any IIT institute, the course, learn how to get big pictures? Do you know any course like this? Udemy, LinkedIn, how to understand big picture? It develops with knowledge, with experience. So big picture. So when you're reading Bhagavad Gita, what is the big picture? That you should understand. Why this conversation is going on? The big picture that you should have always in mind. If I want to say, can you summarize entire Bhagavad Gita in one word or two word or one line? You should be able to say, this is the crux of Bhagavad Gita. Then you understand the big picture. Maybe wrong or right, doesn't matter. But if you have the capability, that means you are able to grasp the big picture. Recall details. In Bhagavad Gita, there are many sections which requires us to have this ability to recall details. Recall details means, do I need to take action? For example, we are having the Janmashtami preparation. And your Prabhuji said, Prabhuji, you bring Kartala on that day, okay? And then discussion goes on. And you forgot. You came nice dressly. Prabhuji, Kartal? You forgot. That means whoever said, you didn't listen to properly. I'll listen everything, Prabhu. I know this Janmashtami, I know this, that, everything you know. Do you remember I told you to become Kartal? That you forgot. So listening skills means anytime you're listening to them, you're reading Bhagavad Gita, if there is something text comes which requires you to do something, make a note of it. That is a good listening behavior. Yes, I need to do this. Then evaluate the content. Wherever there are some 10% discount, 30% discount, one free with another, you should be able to evaluate the content. This is good, this is bad. In Bhagavad Gita, there are many sections where Lord said, this is good, this is bad, this is good, this is bad. And you said, all confusing. Tell me one thing, Prabhu, what I should do? Because you lack this ability to evaluate the content, analyze the content. So then subtle cues. Bhagavad Gita is full of subtle cues. I mean, one person said, I agree that Lord Krishna has lots of names for him. Why Arjuna need to take all the name Bhagavad Gita? Madhusudana, Govinda, Madhava, Kesava. He should have said, oh Krishna, oh Krishna, oh Krishna, oh Krishna, all the places. Why is saying with different names? Konteya, Partha, same person, different names. Why they're calling? There are subtle cues behind those. If you don't understand, you say, Govinda, Madhava, Kesava, all Krishna's name. What is there to read more? When you read the Acharyas, they understand the subtle cues. Why Lord is referred to here as Kesava? Why he's referred to as Madhava? Why is it being referred to as Govinda? Why Arjuna is being Guda Kesa? There are subtle cues. If you don't understand subtle cues, you don't understand Bhagavad Gita. Then empathize. Empathize with the speaker. So all different levels of we need to focus while listening. Then there are 5 challenges if you want to become a good listener. Mental filters. Mental filters are something which you have already assumed, and that always hinders you to become a good listener. Suppose someone told you, this is Prabhuji coming talk, he talks rubbish, no useful language. And then you're sitting here, I know he's just talking like this. Because there's a mental filter working for you. There are many devotees, many people outside, they say, you go to ISKCON, they will call you become life member. So for them, ISKCON is life member. They don't realize the importance of this institute, how it is helping. And They don't realize the life member, when they become life member, what the benefit they are going to get, how the karmas are going to be purified. They don't understand all those things. But somebody has fed them and they think like this. Similarly, Arjuna has a mental filters. Everyone will die. And then he was thinking everything based on their mental filter. And then multitasking. Sometimes somebody comes to you for a discussion and you are multitasking. You are looking at a mobile phone. You say, Prabhuji, I will talk to you. Yes, please come. Let me keep there, not there. Okay, hey, tell me, Prabhu. What I am doing? Multitasking. So sometimes the multitasking could be physical and sometimes mental. Arjuna went there to fight. And he started thinking life, death, family tradition, fighting with Guru, sinful activities, so many things he started thinking. Overthinking, multitasking with mentally. And therefore he becomes confused. You can understand. Lord says, Klabhyama samagama partha, naeta tayupadattate, sudram dea darbalyam, tekta otusta, prantapa. He said, and he should have started fighting. He could not because he was multitasking. Distraction by delivery. When you are listening to someone, okay, it may happen that for myself also, I realize that there are certain words which I can't pronounce very well. And if you focus on those words, you miss the point what I'm talking about. Suppose you go to doctor. He's a very good doctor, renowned doctor. And a person is having heart blockage and he can cure. But doctor is just a heart blockage. And you say that I don't want to talk to him because he is stammering. What you miss? You miss an opportunity to have consultation with a good doctor. Sometimes you will see that a person is presenting and he will turn to the presentation. So the challenges while dealing with this mental filters, multitasking, distraction, delivery, information, just keeps reading the slides. Sometimes may happen that a person is dressed something differently. Half blue hair, half red hair, golden, there is golden, there is golden. And then you're not listening what he's saying. You're looking at his dress. Similarly, when Lord Krishna, he was in Virat Rupa, na? Arjuna said, Lord, I'm getting distracted by this Virat Rupa. He said, na, I cannot understand what you're saying in this Virat Rupa. Right? Similar information overload. In Bhagavad Gita, there is a lot of information overload. Jnana Yoga, Dhyana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Karam Yoga. What to do? Arjuna is confused. Entire universe is confused. Somebody said Dhyana Yoga, somebody said Bhakti Yoga. And then they say, okay, you follow yours, I will follow mine. Let us live with peace. Let us be peaceful. No fighting. Bhagavad Gita has everything. But actually, Bhagavad Gita has only one thing. That is Bhakti Yoga. Then inappropriate response. If you give inappropriate response while listening, sometimes it may happen that in a meeting, a person is presenting and then other person was just watching on the something on message, email or something. And suddenly he asked, do you have any doubt? He said, can you go to first slide? Oh, this is only first slide only. First slide only. He said, just going to previous slide. No slide, Babu. I have only one slide. Sorry, I was busy here. So this is called inappropriate response. So there are many examples and it requires a lot of discussion, but we will go ahead. And there are 5 effective listening behaviors. So 5 listening focus, 5 challenges, and 5 effective listening behaviors. One is clarify the roles. Many times it happens that a husband comes or wives, they communicate with each other. They don't have any topic to convey. All they want is to just empty themselves, right? Nothing. In an emotional burst, they just want to empty themselves. Don't analyze. Don't start what is the big picture. What is the evaluate the content? What is the recall details? Because they are not emotionally good stage. What they want? They just want someone to listen to them, right? Sometimes the husband, they come from the office and he's fired now. He come to office. Now he start arguing and fighting for everything. Why this is kept here? Why this is kept here? Do you know people are getting fired because of this? I can fire you also from house. You start. Then there's no option. You can't fire me like this. है ना? So there's nothing to interpret the language. Just to listen it. Just listen. To clarify the roles. So if a friend is talking to you in a very harsh language, ask him, do you want to any suggestion from my side? Or just listen? You just want me to listen to you. He may say, just listen to me. I just want to empty myself. I'm very frustrated with my boss. Hmm? So Arjuna also clarified the role of Lord Krishna. Initially he was speaking and then he clarified. What he said? Sishasteham sadhimam tvam prapannam. You become my spiritual master and now listen to me. Now the roles are clarified. Once the role is clarified, then the person starts listening very properly. Unless the roles is not clear, how will listen? For example, I am giving a talk here. The roles are very spread. Prabhu said, you speak and they will listen. So I am speaking. I can sit there and also speak. But the roles is not clarified. Your role, my role is not clarified. Then it becomes a conversation. I say something, you say something, and then finally you don't agree on anything. And then you go your way, I go my way. Finish. So roles has to be clarified. So Krishna and Arjuna, they clarify the roles. Attentive to non-verbals. When you're listening, we must always have this non-verbal communication. Like, so that he knows that he's listening. Sometimes you can nod. Sometimes you can ask some question. Yes. Sometimes you can smile. Sometimes you can make faces. So this, all those things, verbals requires that you understand this. Welcoming silence. In a conversation, if the other person stops talking for some time, you should not think this as your opportunity to speak. It happens sometimes, right? You are talking with him and you're just looking for an opportunity to speak, right? The moment he stops, you start speaking. He may take a pause to think something. If you heard many leaders, or many, spiritual leaders also, they will say something. So Jivas, they are part and parcel of Lord Krishna. So they talk pause between, right? You should not think that opportunity to see a message, right? He's not speaking. Quickly check a message in mobile. So welcoming silence. Paraphrasing. You must keep paraphrasing. In any discussion, you must paraphrase properly. Paraphrasing means if there's a meeting going on for Janmashtami, for example, after meeting ends, you must paraphrase. So Prabhu, this discussion, you mean to say that I do this, and I should bring this. Is it clear? Okay, fine. Now we're on the same platform. If you don't paraphrase, it means you didn't listen properly. And there is all chances that you forget what I said. The good leader always will say, can you repeat what I said? Can you paraphrase it? Arjuna kept paraphrasing to convey, yes, I understood. Then mirroring. Mirroring is like when you're talking to someone, mirroring by physical posture, mirroring by voice. Suppose you ask some person, his name is Govinda. What is your name? You ask softly. He says, Govinda. Govinda! And he said, what is your name? My name is Govinda. Yeah, Govinda, thank you. So you need to mirror with him, right? If somebody says, who did this? You say, no, I didn't do this. What it means that you are culprit, right? Therefore, you are having a short voice. No, I didn't do this. Then the same level of understanding, right? And somebody said, who did this? He's like, I'm doubting myself. I don't know who did this, right? So I want to know who did this. So everything is there in the how we speak, the voice level thing is there. And all this is skill we need to use while reading Bhagavad Gita. Okay? So do you need a practice session? Right? I mean, theory without practice doesn't make sense, right? Jnana Vijnana Sahitam. Yes, Gyatva Moksha se Asubhat. Big picture. Arjuna Vacha. Nachayetad Bitma Kataranno Gariyo. Yadva Jayam Yadivano Jayeyo. Janeva hatva najiji vishamste avasthita pramukhya dharta rashtra. When you are reading the slokas, you turn on the big picture. What is the big picture in this sloka? So in this sloka, actually, Arjuna is missing the big picture. What Arjuna said, Nacha ita vidma, I do not know. Kataran no garyo, which is most beneficial. Yadva jayam, if I win, yadivano jayeyu, if I lose, janeva hatva, by killing them, najiji visams, I don't want to leave. They avasthita, pramukhadhasta, and they are standing before me. So Arjuna is thinking that if I don't participate, they will survive. He don't see the big picture. What is the big picture? Lord Krishna is present there. And when he is present there, there has to be some purpose to it. Lord says in Bhagavad Gita, Sri Bhagavan Uvacha, Kalo asmi lokachaya krita praviddo lokan samhartum iha pravitta rityapi tvam na bhavishanti sarve ye avasthita patinekesu yoddha tasmat tvam utishta jaso labasva jitva santrum bhungchva rajyam samriddham mai vete nihita purmameva nimitta matram bhava sabya sachin. So this is the big picture is there. Arjuna missed it. Suppose you are going with your spiritual master and your spiritual master orders you, do this. And you start thinking, if I do this, this will happen. If I don't do this will happen. Why is ordering this? I don't understand this. That means you don't see the big picture, right? If he's ordering, he's saying something, that means he has something in mind. Everything is planned. Everything going to happen according to his plan. We just need to execute. So Arjuna missed this big picture. Now there is a question for you. Let us read this sloka and tell what is the big picture. So when you're reading this sloka, there's a big picture therein to understand. If you miss the big picture, there is no point in reading this all the slokas, because you can't remember all the slokas. If you listen to a discussion for 1 hour, you are not expected to remember the entire 1 hour speech. What you expected to remember? The big picture of the speech. The Lord says, Sri Bhagavan Uvacha, Aditya Namaham Vishnu, Jyotisam Ravi Ansuman, Marichi Marutam Asmi, Nakshatra Namaham Sasi, Vedanam Samvedo Asmi, Devanam Asmi Vasavaha, Indriyanam Anashasmi, Bhutanam Asmi Chetana, Maharsinam Bhrigu Aham, Giram Asyam Eka Aksharam, Yajnanam Japa Yagyasmi, Tavaranam Himalayah, Ham Sarvasya Prabhavo, Mattah Sarvam Pravartate, Iti Matva Bhajante Mam, Buddha Bhava Samanvita. What is big picture? Krishna is everything. Ishvara Parama Krishna, Sachita Ananda Vigraha, Anadir Adir Govinda, Sarva Karana Karam. This is the big picture to understand. You don't have to analyze the topic and say, oh, Lord says this, but he's not saying this. He's not this Kartala. He's not this microphone. He's not this laptop. He's not said. You are not required to analyze this statement. You need to understand the big picture. So if you don't understand how to read this paragraph, you will always start mugging up. You can mug it up. There is no harm in mugging up. But if you miss the point, you miss to understand Bhagavad Gita. What is the big picture? What is this one? Recall details. So when you're reading this, which skill you need to identify? Recall details. There is something we need to do now. You don't need to memorize this. There's something you need to do. If you can't find out what you need to do, there's no point reading this entire script. Let us read this. Sayagya praja srishtva Guru vacha prajapati anena prasavishyadhama esa vastu ishta kamadhok devan bhavitanena te deva bhaviyantu vaha परस्परम भावितंता श्रेया परम अवापस्यथ इष्टान भोगान ही वो देवा दासन्ते यज्ञ भाविता तैर्दत्ताना प्रदायव्यो यो भुंक्ते सतेन एव सह यज्ञ शिष्टासि न संतो मुच्यन्ते सर्व किल विषय भुंजते ते अघम पापा ये पचन्ति आत्मकारणात् अन्नात् भवन्ति भूतानि पर्जन्यात् अन्न संभव यज्ञात् भवति पर्जन्यो यज्ञः कर्म समुद्भव कर्म ब्रह्मोद्भवं विद्धि ब्रह्माक्षरं समुद्भवम् तस्मात् सर्वगतं ब्रह्म नित्यं यज्ञे प्रतिष्ठितम् एवं प्रवर्तितं चक्रं नानुवर्तयति हयः अघायो इंद्रिया रामो मोघम पार्थ स जीवति पत्रं पुष्पं फलं तोयं यो मे भक्त्या परेच्छति तद अहं भक्ति उपहितम् अस्नामि प्रत आत्मनः. What skill you require to understand this paragraph? Recall details. What you need to do? What is action for you? Offer to Krishna, then eat. Very simple, recall details. If you read the entire script and you forget what is you need to do, you don't understand the Gita. And you say, I read this. So there were some pigeons, okay? And these pigeons, they were always being caught by a bird catcher. They went to a rishis. They said, please give us a mantra by following which you will never be caught again in the future. Rishi says, remember this mantra. Bird catcher will come. He will spread the grains. He will spread the net. He will catch us all. Bird catcher will come. He will spread the grains, spread the net. He will catch us all. And these pigeons, they remember this. Now what they're doing? Bird catcher came. He spread the grains. They're eating in there and then chanting the mantra also. So this is our state. Patram pusham phalam toyam chiknamatnam inside. So we read all the slokas, read everything, but because we are not listening to it, what we are doing, we don't understand what is the action item for this. So we read entire Bhagavad Gita with the same tune. Now this, I will not read entire slokas because of time. So this content, this topic is regarding whom should we worship? Should we worship those who is Abhyakta, Aksharam, or should we engage ourselves in Bhakti Yoga? So when reading these slokas from chapter 12, it requires evaluate the content. You must make a paragraph, tables. This is good, this is bad, this is good, this is bad, this is good, and analyze the content, what he is saying. There's nothing for you to do, right? First, you need to analyze. After analyze, then only action items comes. But to read this chapter Bhagavad Gita, like other chapters, you miss everything. Don't listen, because this is something to evaluate the content, something to analyze. Now here is subtle cues. Very interesting. Dhritarashtra uvacha dharma kshetre kurukshetre samaveta yuyusavaha mamaka pandavaschaiva kim akurvat sanjaya. Sanjay uvacha drishtva tu pandavanikam vayudam duryodhanastada आचार्य उपसंगमया राजा वचनम अब्रवीत What is the subtle cues? Dhritarashtra Vacha. If you don't pay attention to this, you will not understand why Arjuna Vacha. Dhritarashtra said, Mamaka, first tell about my sons, then Pandavas Chaiva. You can also tell the Pandavas also. But start from my sons, Mamaka. Therefore, Sanjay Vacha, Drishtva tu Pandavanikam, Vayudham Duryodhasana tada. Because Dhritarashtra said, Mamaka. If the boss comes and say, so there are Apple phones and there are Samsung phone. Which one is better and which one is not better that way? And you are an Apple employee. You start from Samsung. You will fire. Because you need to start speaking from your company problem, right? How it is better, how you can improve it. But you're talking about Samsung, how it is better, cheaper, same quality, everything is there. And so you will get fired because you didn't understand what I want to ask you. You said, I answered your questions. But there's something hint there, right? In a conversation, you don't need to speak everything, right? I don't say. So the title of my conversation is this, and subtitle is this, and the content is this. Don't say that, right? But if you read the legal document, they will say, a company means this, premises means this, a person means this, a party means this. They define all the terms previously, and then they start using the terms. Have you ever seen the rental agreement? They define like that, right? But here you don't see. When I say Mamaka, you should first tell my son. Not explain like that, right? You just say Mamaka, Pandava, Chaiva. So there are subtle cues. Similarly, in this entire 1.21 to 1.25, there are many subtle cues. Arjuna Vacha, I will just read fastly. Senayor Ubayor Madhya Ratham Astapim Achyuta Yavad Eta Niriksham Yudhu Kaman Avashita. Kair Mayasa Yuddhavim Asmirana Samudame Yosamana Avaksham Yeti Samagata Dhat Rashtra Durbudhe Yudhe Prichikirsava. Arjuna said, oh Lord, please take my. There are, why he is saying Achyuta, everything is that all the subtle cues are there. They need to interpret why he is saying Achyuta. I'm not going to on all the details. Some details I will just give examples. Take my chariot in the middle of both the armies so that I can see whom Arjuna wants to see. Yotsyamana avakshayam ye etyatra samagata dhat rashtrasa durbuddhe yuddhe prichikirsava. He wanted to see Duryodhana eyes to eyes, right? So if Lord Krishna placed a chariot in front of Duryodhana eyes to eyes, then there's no Bhagavad Gita. Arjuna starts fighting immediately. But what Lord Krishna did? Bhishma, Drona, Pramukitaha. He placed a chariot in such a way that Bhishma and Drona could be seen clearly. The Lord wanted to say, you said, I want to see people who have come to make benefit for Duryodhana. These are two main people. Now see, you want to fight with them? Or Lord wanted to say that to fight this war, you will have to fight with them also. Are you ready? So there are many subtle cues going on there. If you don't understand, don't read, don't ask question. Just mugging of this will not help. Just reading will not help. You know, understand. There are many subtle cues are there. If you read our acharyas, there comes the beauty, right? They will start interpreting all the situation, everything they start interpreting, and there the beauty of reading all the books comes in picture. Now, empathize with speaker. Arjuna Vacha, Senayor Ubhayor Madhya, Pratham Astapyam Achyuta, Yavad Eta Nirikshayam, Yudhu Kaman Avashita, Kair Mayasa Yudhavayam, Asmirana Samudame, Yotsyamana Avakshayam Yeti Atta Samagata, Dhat Rashtra Durbuddhe, Yudhe Prichikirsava. Now, can you understand what would have been his mode? Senayor Ubhayor Madhya, Pratham Astapyam Achyuta, Yavad Eta Nirikshayam, Yudhu Kaman Avashita. With all josh, with all fight. And then what happens? Dushtemam sajanam Krishna. Sum samapaschitam sidantima gatrane mukham cha parisustati. I can't fight. I can't hold this Gandiva. You can't imagine how Arjuna is speaking, right? Dushtemam sajanam Krishna. He's crying, man. And he was singing. Huh? Bepatushcha sarire me rom harsashcha jayate. He's crying while dancing. And how will you understand Arjuna's feelings? You don't understand why he's crying. And you don't understand why he's crying. How will you understand why Lord Krishna is speaking? Therefore, we need to learn to listen Bhagavad Gita. Similarly, there are many slokas. I will not go in details. Empathize with speaker. So after listening all the slokas, Lord says, Klebhya ma samagama partha, nae tatta upapadate, sudram hridaya daurbalyam, takta autista parantapa. Now can you imagine what would have been the voice tone of Lord Krishna? You don't have, we don't have to be a good actor, but we need to understand the feelings, right? Everyone cannot be a good actor. You cannot start reading. Otherwise, says ko bhav aa gaya. He's in ecstatic, right? If you start Bhagavad Gita and acting also, people just think that you are in an ecstatic mode, highest transcendental ecstasy. You are asru, kampa, everything is coming from you. So it appears the Lord says, leave it. Don't worry, it's fight, man. And he's crying, and Lord's what says, no, get up, fight. Very casually, right? Very casually. And Arjuna is crying. He says, just like what happens sometimes in a training programs, there is a difficult obstacle which the trainee has to pass down, and he says, if I fall down, I break my leg, my teeth, my head, what will happen? And the teacher will say, hey, jump, man, jump. No discussion, jump. Hey, nothing there. Hey, jump. And he will ask, jump. There's no discussion, right? Jump. So Lord is saying, he's just ignoring it. Or maybe he's just scolding him. But I mean, a person is crying, you start scolding him, again he will start more crying, right? You need to understand the mood, right? So there are many empathize, how to empathize, how Lord Krishna empathizing. He has started speaking, he's listening to him, Arjuna very patiently. He was talking so many things. And then when he said, I will not fight, then he said just casually, because the roles are not defined. And then he defines the role. Now I'm just discussing few slides. I will finish by 10:05 or something. You see some behaviors Arjuna, we see. Arjuna is a good listener. Arjuna told Lord Krishna that his instruction has an impact on him. Arjuna Uvacha, let us read. Mad anugraya paramam guhyam adhyatma sangitam yat toya uktasvatastena moho ayam vigato mama. This is important as a listener. You must tell the speaker that your talk has an impact on me. If you don't say, you're not a good listener. Or maybe you don't listen to him again. So Arjuna is saying, Mad anugraya paramam. He's saying the Mad anugraya. Just to have mercy on me, you're talking. You're not talking for your benefit. Or you're not talking for the benefit of others. You are talking to me because you are merciful on me. Mad anugraya paramam. Guhyam adhyatma sangitam. Yat toya oktam vachastena moho ayam vikto mama. And I'm getting benefited. You must tell the speaker that starts your bonding between the speaker and the listener. That is the quality of a good listener. Then what he says, Bhava apyo hi bhutanam sruto vistaraso maya tatvatah kamala patraksha mahatma api cha abhayam. What he's doing? Paraphrasing. All that Lord says, he paraphrases. Bhava, you have told about this Bhava apyo hi bhutanam sruto vistaraso maya tatvatah kamal patrakshara mahatma api cha abhayam. He's just paraphrasing what your Lord told. Then good listener behavior also is you need to express that I want to listen to you more. Always speakers who said, no, I don't have time now. I will speak next time. Listener never say, I don't have time now. We'll talk to me later. That is not a good behavior of the listener. Listeners should always be there to listen. And then he should always ask open-ended questions. He should always say that, tell me something more, something more, something more. And then we agree that, oh, time is not there, we'll speak something later. So therefore, Arjuna also said, Evam eta athatam tam atmanam parmeswaram drashtum ichhami te rupam aishwaryam parusottama. He said, I want to more, right? And then if you say, I want to know more, we also need to be humble. You can't go to doctor and say, doctor says that you have coronary blockage. Yeah, tell me what is coronary blockage. You don't know what is coronary, what is blockage. You tell me. What do you tell? Sir, I am from a commerce background. I don't knowledge of this biology. Please tell me in such a way that I understand, right? Otherwise, he will also tell some more technical terms and you get lost. I understand. So what Arjuna said, Mannasya yadi tatsakyam maya drashtum iti prabho yogeshwaro tato me tvam darsaya atmanam abhayam. Yes, past sentence, Mannasya yadi tatsakyam. If you think I'm eligible, then please tell me. So this is how we need to be humble. So I think with this, I conclude today's discussion. So the idea, to summarize what we discussed, was that we understood the importance of listening skill as a tool while reading Bhagavad Gita. Because Bhagavad Gita is a written conversation. Therefore, because it is written conversation, it has been written as they said. There's no interpretation why he said like this, why he said like this. Right? For example, just imagine Arjuna and all the Pandavas, they went for 13 years, right, in exile, and then 1 year of incognito, Agyatavas, Vanvas and Agyata, 14 years. If you go for 14 years for some job or something like this, when you return back, you want to again meet your grandfather, your father, your uncle, everyone. You want to meet them, you want to hug them, you want to share your feelings and everything you want to share. But you know, when you go there, they are standing with a pistol. Don't come, I will kill you. All this property is mine now. It happens in villages, na? If you're away from villages, na, then they say that all this, your uncle and everyone, they will capture entire property, and then when you return back after many years, they say, forget it. It is all ours now. That was the mentality of Duryodhana. He thought 14 years then exile, but that was not the mentality of Bharata. Bharat, he waited for 14 years. Not waited, he said it is Prabhu's only, right? Lord Ram's only. He never thought it is mine. So that is a difference between Bharat and Duryodhana. Duryodhana is also brother, right? But he is a Kali Yuga brother. If we stay for a long time, your 2 BHK, his 2 BHK now. You will need to bring a force to empty the house. But Bharata was different, right? Bharata was waiting when Lord will come. And Lord Rama was being very tense, very stressed. What he was thinking, if I delay by 1 day, Bharata will commit suicide. It was very particular to reach on the same day. And therefore, he delayed for some time for Ravana. And the day was closer, he killed. Finish. No more discussion now. He killed him and he went back quickly. Because he knew the emotions of Bharata. But Duryodhana, he captured it. And now we think, grandfather, Bhishma, and the Dronachar, Arjuna has so much affection to them. He wanted to meet them after 14 years and he wanted to talk with them. And now suddenly they are standing there. He can't share his feelings, how I felt in the 14 years of life, how it went, how I remember you, how are you, how we do it, everything. He wanted to talk to them. But now they are standing in the battlefield of Kurukshetra and fight. Kill or die. No discussion. Imagine the situation is mental condition, right? If you can't understand that mental agony, you don't understand why he's not fighting. You say, he just refused to fight. I would have fight. So therefore, we need to listen to Bhagavad Gita. And listen, there are some skills are there. So, I mean, I wrote in this book, 6 Essential Life Management Skills from Bhagavad Gita. So there I have covered different skills from Bhagavad Gita. So listening skill is the first chapter in this book. And there I have given the many exercises for all those chapters. So the way to see this book is like either you can derive those skills from Bhagavad Gita and use in your life, or you can use these skills to understand Bhagavad Gita. Both ways. Right? So thank you very much. Hare Krishna. I hope there is no question, right? And if you ask me close-ended questions. Okay, Bhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Krishna, Bhuji.
Thank you so much for the wonderful session. A very eye-opening session for me. And then you were talking about the 4 types of speeches. So my question, I hope it's an open-ended question. So my question is, when we were talking about those 4 types of speeches, in my mind, I was thinking of 2 incidences in the Shastra. One is the conversation between Narada and Vyasadeva after doing all that, before the start of Bhagavatam. So where he is blessed so that he gets, he sees everything and then he writes. So now, is that in the Pashyanti stage? I mean, if you could just throw some light around that. And then another incident was, we know a thief was listening to the description of Lord Krishna, where with jewels and all that. That description, he listens, he's meditating on that. And then there's that pastime, no, where the thief goes to Vrindavan and he wants to steal the jewels of the little Krishna. So what was his listening there? Could just elaborate a little on these 2.
So Prabhuji wants to know that when Vyasadeva, right? Vyasadeva, he was meditating and seeing everything and writing it. So that is on the level of Pasyanti. And in the example of thief, he heard it through the oral reception, Vekari. And then it went to the Madhyama, in the mental stage. So we are still on the Madhyama stage, imagining everything and understanding them and then following it. It was not on the level of Pasyanti.
Why do we say it's not in Pashyanti? I mean, I'm just asking for clarification.
Pasyanti is a level wherein you get, if you have control on all of your desires, and it is nothing that it is produced. It is anahata from inside. It is comes from top side down. So the thief already heard it, he imagined it, and now he's looking for it.
He is in the Madhyama kind
Madhyama,
of
right.
listening.
And
then because he had the desire to steal also.
Right.
So, but then of course the mercy of the Lord, so he was able to.
Nothing, there is something which is coming automatically from his heart, right? But that Madhyama may get transformed to Pasyanti for a devotee if it starts meditating, and then you may something, I mean, you are chanting sometime and then some realization comes from within, right? And many devotees also have the realization, right? Many charyas, when they write books, they write from their realizations, right? This anubhuti, self anubhuti. Those are on the level of Pasyanti. They never heard about this. No one knew about this. If you read the interpretation of Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and Sridhar Swami, you will be amazed the way they interpret the one words, right? So these are level of Pasyanti. It is Swam Smrita. Smrita.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you for that. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Krishna.
Thank you for the wonderful session, Prabhuji. Definitely, I believe you made an impact on many of us here today. Just want to check, like sometimes we hear from people like I had some internal feeling or internal God spoke to me, or as if like they heard from the Lord that instruction and they follow that. So how do we understand whether it's a concoction or whether it's really that message came from the Lord, or at a para level or Pashyanti level? Also want to understand this Pashyanti and para, you kind of used it as a synonymous in the talk. So are they very close, or is there any, what's the difference exactly?
So Prabhuji is saying that sometimes people will say that God spoke to me, right? And the relation comes from me within. So that is one question. And second thing that you want to understand that in my discussion, I use Pasanti and para together, so he's confused. Are they same or different? So the second part I will answer first. So Pasanti and para, they are different. Para is Trigunatmak and Pasanti is on the level of Satoguna. Okay. So para is all different. So until unless you are completely away from this, you can't understand the para level of that speech. You can't understand. You can't have access to the speech, although it is everywhere in the Brahmanda. You can't have access to it. And when you say this, God said to me, I have this. Sometimes it could be a madhyama, a self-talk, his own talk. And for really self-realized devotees, could be a pasanti also. But then how he acts. If you are smoking, I just, Lord told me yesterday. Now understand what it is, right? The action speaks. It may be self-talk, right? And sometimes it may be schizophrenia. है ना? Disease, है ना? पागलपन, है ना? Some mental connection, some here and there connection not proper. He sees something, hears something. So now it is so happened that because we don't have access to this personality level of understanding, so even if a great devotee and great saint who has the access to personality level of information, we also say that we pagal hai wo, right? Because you don't understand. But from the action, right? From the action you can understand. He's mad or something like this. No, you can understand. Sometimes you see that Prabhupada said, once one person asked, if you see this video, na, of H and Aravind videos, na, in that Prabhupada says that there are many followers, there are many temples. Where are they? They will manifest in time. What is this vision? Pasyanti. But if I say there are many temples, who will believe? Similarly, when Bhaktivinoda Thakur and Bimla Prasad, they were sitting together on the rooftop, he said, I see a big procession, many people are chanting. What is the level? Pasanti level. If I say, instead of the Prabhuji thinking something, right? Madhyama level, something like this. It depends. And to be frank, I'm not very expert on this entire science. Okay. So what I would request that you don't consider this discussion as a final one. Just take it as an initial point for you to explore more, read more, understand more, explore what it is, how it is, and apply those in understanding Bhagavad Gita and everything. So it's just a beginning for you and for myself also. Although I'm sitting here because just to speak and you can understand this, but I did disclaimer, I'm not expert in Bhagavad Gita, neither I'm expert in this sound speech, neither I'm expert in listening skills. I'm just like an instructor who says something to explore more. Like a physics teacher, he may teach you what is the Newton's law, but he's not in Newton, right? Similarly, I'm not in Newton. I'm just teaching the Newton's law.
Very nice, Prabhuji. Sorry, Prabhuji, I take another question if you don't mind. Just that self-talk and also the distraction, like when we are listening, there is many times the self-talk happens within, and lose the focus on the focus on the topic or the speaker. Plus, we also conclude quickly and start coming to a question actually. So this distraction, how do we avoid? Like, I mean, have given some tips, but maybe you could elaborate a bit with some examples. Or
Who is saying that there are self-talks and there are distractions? Lord says, Prajahati yada kaman sarvan partha manogatan. Prajahati yada kaman sarvan partha manogatan. Manogatan, sarvan partha manogatan. This, our mind is constructed in such a way that it can formulate desires. Newton said that a body in a stationary will not move until unless an external force is applied. And a body in motion will not stop until unless an external force is applied. But a body is sitting here, he went out to office. Where is the force? Who is pushing him? That force is the internal force. And that force is generated from the desires. Okay? And the creating desires is the function of mind. Sankalpa and Vikalpa. So mind is a function. So Lord has given us a mind, very powerful machine, which can desire many things, keep desiring. So we should become like a manager. So for example, I am a manager and I have many people, I have hired them, and that their task is to promote my business, everything. And they come up with many ideas. Boss, can you do this, do this, do this, do this? Yes, you tell me, do this, do this. My task is just listen to all the ideas, not to act on all the ideas. My task is to listen the ideas and then act, select one which is the best one, and then work on it. So my mind is like a servant to me. I'm a master. His job is to give me ideas. Ye bhi kar lo, ye bhi kar lo, do this, do this, do this, do this. And my task is to just listen to, see the what the desires are coming up, not get distracted by it, select one thing and work on it. But if I start working all the plans, you will be bankrupt. Right? So if you think that I am my mind, I am myself and mind, there's no difference, then you get distracted. But if you think, you realize that you are different from your mind, and then let the mind speak. Something like this. You just watch it. Just select, yeah. Thank you, mind. This idea is good. I will work on it. Other ideas, discard it. You work on it. And how mind gives the idea? Based on what kind of association you have. It is said a person is the average of 5, right? If you associate with all the devotees who don't read Bhagavad Gita, then there are all chances that you will also not read Bhagavad Gita. If you associate with people who are reading Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, this, that, they're analyzing, they're discussing more and more, there are all chances that you are also among them. So if you stay with those persons who will talk to you, Prabhu, I had 10 ideas yesterday and I have selected one idea, this is good. Then you also learn, oh, I should not act on all the ideas. I'm relieved. Right? So this is what. So if you understand this, you don't get distracted.
So much.
We have 2-3 minutes, so there are some 2 more questions, I think. Mataji, anybody has a question? Mataji's? Okay.
Krishna Prabhu.
Yes,
Dandavat
Prabhu.
Pranam. Prabhuji, sometimes while chanting and all, we see that these desires or thoughts, ideas all come. And sometimes we know that we should not act, but what should we do? We are observing those things, but it's actually a distraction for chanting, isn't it? So how to deal with that? Because the first thing is Shruta, then more subtler is Madhyama, but this Madhyama being subtler, can it cause a distraction to the previous one also? Like,
So Prabhu is saying that when we chant, many desires come to us and they disturb, right? And how to overcome this?
overcome, yes. And is it the subtler ones can be favorable and unfavorable to the grosser ones, or is it always favorable? Because in this case, I am seeing that probably that is Madhyama, no? The desire thought that comes.
Yes.
So that is not helping me in the first one, yeah, the actual hearing. So can it be detrimental also, or going subtler is always favorable?
Yato yato chalati manah chanchalam. In Bhagavad Gita chapter 6, Lord says, wherever your mind goes, catch it and bring it back. Catch it and bring it back. Because this is a function of mind or desire. If you lose that mind, then what will happen? We will also not get desire to go to back home, back to Godhead. It's a powerful machine that we have. It is a problem with us that we cannot use it properly. When the smartphone came in the market, the older people will say, these are all bakwas. It's good to have 2 buttons, accept and reject. There are so many buttons. I'm confused. Okay. When I went to purchase a laptop, I purchased Dell. I didn't go for Mac. This is confusing for me, but Mac is better. But I cannot use this Mac, I rejected it. Similarly, our mind is good. If it is thinking, if it is producing desire, you should know that you are healthy. If a child, if a child is running here and there, I went to a doctor for my child, and I said he's very sick. I think he's not eating. He said, is he playing? Is he not in the house? I said, fine, yes. That's good then. He's very well. The child is jumping here and there, naughty here and there, doing something. It is you who are making it good or bad. But for a child, it's just act. If he's running here, there's nothing wrong with it. It's good. So if your mind is desiring something here and there, is good. It means that your mind is healthy. Now we need to use it. But what you are doing, you are focusing on one thought. You are just not letting it pass by. If you focus on one thing, what Lord says, that even if your mind focuses on one thing, that will carry away your intelligence, right? Just like a ship without any curtain. So let the thought comes. You are chanting Hare Krishna, Bhagavathi would be Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Boss gave me this idea. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Temple Hare Krishna, Janmashtami Hare Krishna, donation Hare Krishna, the book collection Hare Krishna. Let it come. Don't stick to any ideas. Sometimes we like some idea, right? And we get stick to it. And we think that this is a very bhaktifull idea. This is a devotional idea. And we stick to it. Don't stick to any ideas. Let it come. It will come. It will go. It will come. It will go. Because this is a function of mind. Do you think this breathing is disturbing you while chanting? You need to stop it? No, right? So why don't I stop the function of mind? It is active. Now let it be active. Don't get disturbed by this function of mind. Let it desire, let it do something. What you can do, mind will desire depending on your association. So for example, you go to watch a movie, have a disco party last night. You don't drink, but go with all the drunkard friends. Everywhere go there and then sit in the morning and then chant. Hare Krishna, disco dancer, something will come to mind in your mind. And then you say, Prabhu, I'm disturbed. Now you stay with devotees, right? You stay with devotees, chant with. Therefore, temple has this program, right? You chant with devotees. This sky is the manifestation of mind. The sky is the manifestation of mind. So when many people are together thinking about same thing, the space above them is energized with the same thought. Therefore, if there are many devotees sitting together thinking on the same topic, then what happens? Their mind is synchronized. There is a experiment, beautiful experiment. What they did, they took two pairs of players. There are two groups of players. Suppose in a card, right? Card, I'm sitting here, my friend is sitting there, and another two pairs are sitting here and there, right? They connected their mind and they're reading the MRI message or EEG message, right? Their brain messages, the alpha level messages. Very interesting what they found. What they found was that two friends who were thinking alike, although they are separated, their brain waves are similar to others. Another experiment. What they did, they had a curtain and people were separated. They said, press a button and you need to synchronize while pressing the button. If you synchronize the timing, you win. If you're not synchronized, you lose. Now I'm also thinking, my friend was thinking, I should wait a little bit, right? Then I should press. And now they recorded their brain signals, they were matching. They changed the experiment. They said, fastest finger first. Now their brain was thinking differently. So there's a correlation between now the space where we're sitting and the sky above it. The mana is the representation of mind. So if all the people are sitting there together and thinking of same topic, discussing on same topic, it enhances our desires with thinking same desire. Is there anyone who is thinking about going to Vrindavan Parikrama now? No. Because every mind is thinking about Bhagavad Gita, listening to skills, this, that, everything related to this topic. No one can think about something else because the mind is there. You cannot desire something else now. So therefore, if you are more disturbed, you You train yourself to be in association. You can choose. You cannot tell mind to stop, but you can stop yourself from being in a bad association. You can select to be in good association. You can select in which group you want to chant, right? If you chant while traveling a local train in Mumbai, all the diyas will come differently. When you chant, you are going to yatra, diyas will be different. You cannot mind desiring, that means it is a good state. You have a very healthy mind, and congratulations to you.
1 minute. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you
Hare
very
Krishna,
much
Prabhuji.
for this enlightening class, Prabhu. This is wonderful. Prabhu, while listening through your lectures, what I understood that it reminded me in 3 levels of Pashanti described in our scripture. The very beginning with Pasyanti Jnana Chakshusha, that is described in Bhagavad Gita. Pasyanti Karna Chakshusha, the second level, by listening from the heart, from the seeing from the ear. And the third level, Pasyanti Nityam Pasyanti Yogina. That is the third level, the transcendentalist, those who are in the para, they can see Krishna and his Leela each and every moment uninterrupted. So, but my question here comes here. We are always in the firefighting mode, too. Being the beginner at the sadhaka, we know Mataji is, Prabhuji is moving to office early in the morning. And while reading Bhagavad Gita or Srimad Bhagavatam, we just want to understand what is the meaning of this. Forget about developing the vision of Krishna or the smaran, that we have not developed that. From your perspective, what is the way, what is the actionable that we need to develop 1, 2, 3, or maybe one very beginning, so that I can, with the fraction of some time, with the firefighting mode, we can develop the habit of reading Bhagavad Gita as it I am listening. That you did mention, reading is listening. That how can I develop that habit in my firefighting mode, so that it becomes gradually that moves from Nityam Pasyanti Nitya. I hope you got my question too.
Thank you, Prabhuji. And you know Asit Nair Prabhuji, and he has written the foreword for this book. This book, he has written the foreword for my book. And thank you, Prabhuji. And I keep consulting with him. So it's like he asking me questions like interviewing me. Do you know this? So Prabhu, I mean, your question is like in a firefighting mode. How can we develop this mode that we increase our taste for listening Bhagavad Gita, right? How we can increase our taste? Right. Prabhuji. So the first step is like knowing this process that while reading we need to listen to Bhagavad Gita. And the second stage is that listen it from somebody else who is already realized this, and then you can develop this. So these two things I would recommend. That first you should know that Bhagavad Gita is a documentation of a conversation, and therefore we require a skill to listen it. And now knowing this, if I start reading Bhagavad Gita, I may not understand because I know this. So therefore we should listen from a realized person. If you listen to them, and then you connect back how he's describing each passage, how he's describing the slokas, how he's doing this, and then you also develop this inclination. This is the focus point. This is how to do. So to read a conversation is to listen from realized person. Yes, Prabhu?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. And thank you for the very nice class. I very much agree to your point you made that if our intelligence keeps on meditating on one thing, and then slowly the mind will just carry away from that point. I want to connect it to the present. It may not be very much related to the listening thing, but over your experience on this thing, like our mind will just get carried away. Especially in teens, when the children are more in association with other children, they get more carried away with other things, and suddenly they keep on meditating on that more than whatever they are in, while they are devotee association. So what would you there are many challenges. Many parents have also expressed same concern. They keep meditating on things that are not required. And whereas we cannot certainly make them forcibly put upon them to stop doing things. That is the situation, harsh situation outside. With respect to devotee children, parents, children, what over your experience about this?
So Mata is asking that nowadays the children, especially teenage children, what they do is like they keep thinking of something which they are not required to think, right? So what should be our suggestion for them, and what is our suggestion to the parents of the children? One thing that we need to remember or acknowledge is like all the jivas are there with a previous life, right? They have come, their path is set, and they are going to follow it. And now, as a parents, we have the duties, we have our responsibilities, and we are limited to it. So all that we can do is like we can always give them. In Bhagavatam, it is said that if a person who tests the rasa bhakti and then he falls down, he can do nothing but remember that test only, right? Similarly, as a duty, as a parents, what you can do is just give them the opportunity of association, give them a chance, make environment, and tell them that is what you can do, and your boundary ends there. Nothing more you can do. So this is what you can do almost, because every child he has his own prarabdha, so he's going to do going through. He may fall down, then become elevated devotee, may become a devotee, may fall down. Many things we see. In Bhagavatam, if you read, there are many instances where the son becomes a dacoit, he becomes many things, right? Like example of Vain, right? Vena was born after a yagya, right? But he became a dacoit. So not a good person. Similarly, Ravana, he was son of Ulastasi, no? Breath Rishi. But he becomes something different. So don't try to control. The moment you try to control them or control yourself, you are trying to become the master of the material nature, which is not possible. What Lord says in Bhagavad Gita, Lord says that don't disturb person who is not aware of the self-realized path. Let them do it, because prakriti kriya manani gune karmani sarvasa ahankara vimuratma kartamita mannate. And then he says, nigraha kim karisati. There is no way to nigraha him. What you can do, that you can teach him how to best utilize his knowledge. If he has a knowledge, skill of, say, singing, he may be singing a disco dance or family song. You can ask him that at least you can sing one song, different song in our temple program. One song you just sing. You have a very good skill in developing a website. Our temple requires to build a website. Can you help them? This is how we can involve him in using his skills for different services. This is what Lord recommends to Arjuna also. This is also what we can follow it.
Hare Krishna. So, any other questions anybody has? So let us all thank Prabhuji and express our deep gratitude by loudly chanting once Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So we'll have some important announcements. I request all devotees to be assembled downstairs. The Kannada class is also over, so let us all go downstairs for them. Quickly, we can group out in one.
So you can collect this pamphlet. So it has the basic 5 skills that I said. So it is there. Anyone who wishes, you can collect. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna devotees, thanks for the